Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the bold analysis. I am wondering why Deputy President William Ruto chased journalists in the Kuresoi meeting, or rather in the Molo meeting, not to cover, I think, the part of his speech, while a meeting was attended by over 500 people. They were having their phones and they were not frisked to leave their phones somewhere before attending the rally, before attending the meeting. Really, something is not adding up, but perhaps we will find out in the fullness of time. The meeting that Deputy President held in Molo, but the larger Molo was split into Kuresoi North, Kuresoi South, Molo, and Njoro. So he was meeting leaders who media was saying minority groups, but there were elders from Kikuyu community staying in that place. Remember, that place also has a bit of the Kalenjin, Kisii, and the other minority groups there, even Luo. So that meeting was organized first by Susan Kihika team, and then they invited Deputy President William Ruto with Rigathi Gachagua. Meeting in Molo, the presence of Rigathi Gachagua is one that reminds Kenyan a lot of things. Of late, Deputy President's competitors have been running a very well-coordinated attack on Rigathi Gachagua, linking him to the issues around Molo from the time he was a DO in 1992. So when I was just doing my research, I bumped on another interview by someone who I think worked with Rigathi Gachagua, and he made this statement.
Sasa baada ya kukaa sana hiyo period ya kazi tulikuwa tunaendelea sawa sawa, ukakuja mtu anaitwa ndio mmoja alikuwa anaitwa Gachagua. Gachagua alipokuja nilikuwa nimeomba sick off, nilikuwa mgonjwa, nilikuwa nasumbuliwa sana na mimba. Gachagua alipokuja, hiyo ilikuwa 92. Alipokuja nikaitwa na DC. Kaniambia kuja chief kwa ofisi yangu. Nikaenda, sikuenda na uniform, sababu hata nilikuwa off. Kaniambia, chief, tuko na mgeni hapa. Huyu mgeni ndiye ndio wako kuanzia leo. Na wewe ndiye unaelewa Kiambaa sana. Mfanye kazi na yeye, muonyeshe vile Kiambaa naendaga. Na ujue mko na tunaenda kuanzisha show ile ya district show. Na watu wote wanatengeneza vibada. Kamwambia bwana DC, mimi nilitoa pesa zangu nikampea dio ile alikuweko 99,000 ili atengeneza kibada. Ameda, yes transferred. Sasa usitaje hizo pesa, utafute pesa zingine mtengeneze hiyo kibada. Gachagua alikuwa anataka kuona nimetaabika mpaka mwisho. Hata alituma askari wanipeleke Karura Forest waniue. Lakini askari tulipoenda huko walikataa. Wakasema huyu tukimshika na tulionekana tukimtoa kwake nyumbani, tukimuua tutakuwa shida. Hizi ndio tutakuwa kwa shida. Sio huyu anatuambia tumuue.
Today when Deputy President was meeting that group, part of that team are members who were victims of post-election violence of 2017. And I want to say why. What exactly was Deputy President saying that made him to now abruptly realize that the journalists were in the room? Wakati aliingia alikuwa nawaona. But when he was going to make a statement, he just realized that, look here, this is what I cannot say when journalists are here. One, it cannot be that exclusively because of the Luo community, the Kikuyu community that I was talking to, there is nothing so special that anaweza wambia that he did not want the media. But I think most of people who maybe did not get that part, this is what exactly transpired there.
Nikajiuliza, siasa ya Kenya vile ilivyo baada ya 2007 na shida kubwa ya hiyo siasa ikifika mahali pale inakuwa ni watu ya bonde la ufa, wengi wao ndio wanapata matatizo ya kisiasa. Nikaketi chini na rafiki yangu Uhuru Kenyatta na tukakubaliana, nikamwambia my friend Uhuru Kenyatta, mimi niko tayari, na nilikuwa na nafasi these media houses, why do we have media houses here?
Now, that is the interesting video and was realized nani waliwaleta hapa, and someone was making a joke in Twitter kwamba alirealize kwamba anaenda kudanganya. But then this is coming at a time when Deputy President has been facing criticism from the Rift Valley place that he did not agitate for compensation of the post-election violence victims. He has been under this scrutiny. And remember the issue around the Kiambaa church. When it came up, it was like the government or some people had collected some funds to build that church, and he was under tax that he's been contributing to build churches in other parts of the country, but that Kiambaa church has never been rebuilt. And you just remember all these cases that has been happening around this. So in this analysis, I just wanted to maybe just make a bit of a direct speculation. What exactly Deputy Ruto was saying that will be top secret, that he didn't want the media to cover. And in this, if people who normally follow my analysis, a hint is in this video. Kindly subscribe to our channel and also click the notification bell. Immediately Ruto left that meeting, then I think to save face, because his online team had informed him that maybe the issue of chasing the journalist was already trending in social media and people were asking questions. He just wanted now to save face and now addressed journalists. So when he addressed journalists, what he talked about was totally different. And he was talking about Jacaranda, about Trailer and all that. And from where I am, I was like, now this is diversionary. Because what journalists maybe would have expected, I don't know whether they asked him what exactly they discussed. Of course, what was in for the residents of Molo. Someone who was watching news from Molo would have wanted, yes, Deputy President was around town. So what did he say about us? That person is quite disappointed. Listen to what Ruto was saying after chasing the journalists.
Violence was meted against us in Kisumu. Violence was meted against us yesterday in Jacaranda. And he must, if he is a leader what he sold, he must speak against violence. That is a very big concern by the people of Kenya. And I want to assure the people of Kenya that our supporters will be peaceful.
I decided to put a call to a radio journalist who attended it from Nakuru, and he was telling me directly that maybe Deputy President did not want the journalists, did not want them to cover the speech of Rigathi Gachagua. There have been this a deliberate attempt by Deputy President not to expose Rigathi Gachagua to media, especially closed-door meetings where you'll be, he's been so, I think Rigathi Gachagua is a bit of political greenhorn, and whatever he says normally falls out of it's normally blown out of it's normally blown out of proportion. So there is a likelihood that they didn't want, because the eye, or rather the attention, will be on what Rigathi Gachagua was going to speak in Molo, and every media house or every journalist would be running with a headline on regarding Gachagua's message to the residents of Molo. Remember, he's been linked with a lot of stories around when he was a DO in Molo and in the 1992 when he was under Moi. So whatever he was going to say there was actually going to steal the show, and that will be the headline of that meeting. So that was going to water down. And if Deputy President saw that, then honestly, you need to give him a take for that decision. But being that when he was telling the journalists to leave, he was in making a statement that hakumaliza, that they had sat with the president and they agreed and he knew something, you can automatically see that perhaps he wanted to talk about the post-election violence issues of 2007. And remember, that is a very contentious issue that he would not want to even get to the media, because whatever he says will be taken in a context. Remember, Deputy President has been only, unfortunately, one of the names that was taken to ICC, and the cases are still active. They're still going on there in Netherlands. And any statement that you would make on PEV would be, you'd never know how it will be interpreted, how it will be understood. To the Kenyan space, it will be about, remember I've mentioned that they were complaining that despite the fact that he comes from Rift Valley, or rather despite the fact that he was a deputy president for 9 years, he has done less to support, rather to compensate that group. So deputy president talking about the post-election violence directly in some manner would maybe be used, it will be a campaign narrative that can be used against him. And that's why perhaps he was right when saying that nyi watu wa media mnakonga na propaganda mingi sana. But that meeting was also to campaign for Susan Kihika and the Nakuru candidates for seeking different elective seats, especially the women rep, the senator, and the governor. So what I see there is more probably he realized that he would still campaign for those people, but along the ethnic lines. Why? And of course, Nakuru is cosmopolitan, but you cannot underscore the tribal alignment. It's easy to tell, and you will see even when they were naming the candidates, Susan Kihika is a Kikuyu. She named Kalenjin as a running mate. If you go the other side of Kinyanjui is a Kikuyu. He picked a Kalenjin, I think, as a running mate. So you will see the tribal arrangements there. He might have chased a journalist because he realized maybe he wanted to campaign for his candidates, and the messaging would cut across lines, and that is not something that will want to be captured in media. But again, just following into the nature of normally these meetings are normally used to give campaign pledges and promises. When I get to power, I'm gonna do this and that. And because of that, he did not want that to be captured. Honestly, it will be a big question on, you are saying that if you get power, you are going to do this, that, and that. The question would be, very bold question would be, what have you been doing for the last 9 years? So, guys, I was not in that meeting, but of course, I speculate bit that is what is captured. And if you talk to the journalists there, of course, when they leave, this information is going to get out. What we only captured that was so interesting is that before Deputy President chased them, Rigathi Gachagua had not spoken, but aliongea baadaye when wamemaliza. Lastly, I'm asking, what is the role of Justin Muturi in Kenya Kwanza? We'll look at that in my next analysis.